There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Yes, yes, yes. We are here. We are here. John Stringer laying the foundation, reminding you that you are welcome here. You're welcome back to yourself. You're welcome home. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are at this very moment in time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in to yourself first. And as you tune in, you get to listen. As you listen, you create the space and the place for you to be transformed. I am Ade, your transformational beingness artist. Welcome to another episode of Being You, The Journey Back to Yourself, Season 3, Episode 8. Today is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. The year is moving on. I like that. Did you catch that? I did. Today's topic is coming home to yourself. We're inviting you to come back to yourself, to come back to you. What does home mean to you? What is home? Is home your heart? Is home the physical location? Is home a different place, a different country, a different state, a different town? Are you looking for home? Really? Do you feel like you're home? Whatever home means to you, we want to hear about it. And I'm going to tell you more in a few. But I want to tell you that we are inviting you to join us on the Being You podcast page on Facebook. That's where you get to have a more interactive experience. So if you're watching this show, specifically, if you're watching live, if you're on there, we can see you. We can see your questions. Now, as I often say, some of you you watch the show on my personal page, which we can still see you. However, if you're watching this show outside of YouTube or my personal page and the Being You page, then we just might not see your questions and comments. So if you have any questions, come to the Being You podcast page on Facebook so we can get to your questions. And slow it down. Speaking of questions, today we are taking questions. We're doing something different. Actually, I think this is the first time I'm doing this on Being You podcast as a radio host, the Ade Show, Soul Food for Your Consciousness, Life Conversations with Life Coach Ade. I've always done readings, but it just actually hit me. This is the first time where we've done on-air readings. So get your questions together. If there's something that you're moving through, dealing with, challenged with, you need some insight, some spiritual guidance, let us know. We invite you to send, two things or one. My producer's like, no, it's just one. But sometimes this mouth can't keep a secret. I know too much. But so if you have any questions, let me make sure so my producer doesn't get at me. You shouldn't have done that. No, not really. But anyway, if you have any questions, go to the Being You podcast page, send us an message, direct message, and send your messages, send your questions. If you want to remain anonymous, great. If not, However, for those of you who are like, I want to get everything, when I do readings and there's something to be said when you're seeing the person that you're reading for. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do the reading when you don't see them, but it's just something that's extra special when you can make that connection. So we're inviting you, particularly if you have questions, to send us a message through the instant message, or no, not instant message, what's it called? Direct message inbox through the Being You podcast page, and let us know that you want to join us on screen, and we'll bring you on. And my lovely guest, Joe, will be happy to read you, share what's coming up for her. I'll tell you more about her, but let's keep moving. What else do I need to say? I just want to say Being You podcast is an invitation. It's an invitation for you to return to yourself, the higher self, the deeper self, the self that knows all, that is not moved by pandemic or what's happening in the political realm, whether you're prosperous, pandemic, political, prosperous, peaceful. It's like, whatever, I'm good. So we're inviting you to take a look at the self that is in the physical realm and give yourself permission to start contemplating what is the self that is not moved by external drama. How do you see the world? How do you see yourself in the world? That's part of the invitation. How do you see yourself in the world and how you see the world in you? If you allow yourself to kind of sit with those questions, look at how you see yourself, how you see the world, how you see yourself in the world, and how you see the world in you, you will access some information that will blow your mind, would balance your mind. You would know a self that maybe you thought didn't exist. It's an invitation to go within and you return back to yourself. All right, let's jump in with some announcements. Podcast. If you're podcasting and you're looking for a podcasting hosting site, Libsyn, LIBSYN.com is a place you can use. Maybe you want to change. Check it out. Go to the website now. I partner with them. So my partnering with them gives you some freebies and help you save some money. So it's the promotional code is ADE, ADE. When you sign up, make sure you use it. Once you sign up, you can't go up and down. Just go for the highest. If you want, go for the highest service that they offer if you want to, and you can change later once you start paying. So bear that in mind. Now, this is how it works. Today's the 23rd. If you were thinking of signing up today, I'll say wait. But you don't have to. You can sign up now. If you sign up today, that just means you'll get the rest of February free and the whole of March. But if you wait till March 2nd, the second day of March, not the first, don't sign up on the first because you just get maybe 30 seconds, 30 minutes, few hours. But if you sign up from March 2nd, you get the whole of March free and then whole of April free by using the promo code ADE. So if you're into podcasting or know somebody who's doing it, wants to get into it, yeah, check it out. If you need someone to consult with about starting your own podcast, that's a service that I offer. I produce for others. I edit their podcasts. I consult to help you get it started. Other announcement, I want you to know that every Wednesday you can join Ricky Byers and myself for soul-fulfilling, soulful songs and soulful conversations. That's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and 2 a.m. UK time. That's 2 a.m. on Thursday morning. So those of you in the UK, like myself, if you're a night owl like myself, if you stay up late like myself, 2 a.m., come join us. It's an hour show. We get to rendezvous and grow and expand. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. on Thursday morning, UK time. Soul Fulfilling with Ricky Byers and myself, yours truly. I told you my guest today is LaVerne Pearson. She's offering spiritual readings. So if you have any questions, go to the Being You podcast page, send us a message from there, and we'll come to you. And specifically, those of you who want to join Joe online. Oh, it is? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, we'll let it hang. Let's see. I don't know. It may not pick my voice up very well. My microphone is in the way, but don't worry. Yeah, we're all right. But thank you, though. I appreciate that. So, yeah, if you want to join on the screen, we'll bring you on, but you must send us a message so that we can send you the link for you to join us online. Hello there, Kwali. Hello there, Shoyinka. Nice to see you, my dear sister, and all the other silent listeners. And blessings, Angie. Who's Angie? Oh, I think you're just changing Leslie's name to Angie. That's okay. I think she would take it because Angie is short for angel, right? She's an angel. She's an angel in the body. Let's see. I think that's everything. I want to make sure that I've done everything I need to do. New Jace, I see you. YouTube is trying to block you, but through the power invested in me, I am blocked. You deserve to be here. All right, my friend is standing by, Joe. I think that's it. I want to read a little bit about her, and I want to bring her on 111. Well, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in UK, 611. Anyway, Joe LaVerne Pearson holds a master's in metaphysical science and a master's in business administration. She has over 30 years experience in business and the social sciences, and has been a lifelong student of metaphysics while applying its concepts to her everyday life. She is currently working on her dissertation towards a doctorate in metaphysical science. Yes, about time. Yeah, baby. Jo is a conscious channel using her gifts and knowledge to assist people with realizing their life's purpose and growing into their authentic self. It's all about the self. For over 6 years, Jo managed her own practice in Sedona, Arizona, offering psychic intuitive readings and healings. She is continuing this work based in New Jersey, USA. She works nationally and internationally. She is a practitioner offering psychic intuitive readings and healings, as well as a member of the board of trustees with the Association of Research and Enlightenment of New York Edgar Cayce Center. There's more about her. She's a minister. She's powerful. She is my friend. I have known her for many, many years now, probably 15 years, maybe longer. And most of you have heard me, those who listen regularly, you've heard me say, I remember someone said to me one time, you're the voice of your ancestors. And I remember when I heard that, even just now, I feel chills go through my body. I was like, whoa. I didn't feel like it was I didn't feel like it was a responsibility. I wasn't nervous about it. It was humbling. I felt like I was given a gift. And Jo was the one that said it to me. And it just like, it changed my mind and my life and how I looked at myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I do that, I want to tell you where to find her. Her website address is J.L. Pearson. J as in Joe, L as in LaVerne, J.L. Pearson, PEARSON.com. You can find out more about her. We have an announcement for you later on, so stay tuned, keep listening. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, psychics and skeptics, all of you invited, physical beings and non-physical beings, help me welcome my friend, my sister, Jo LaVerne Pearson. Hey, Jo.
Hi, Ade.
It is so nice to have you here. You know, it's like, I've been doing radio for such a long time. I've never interviewed before. I don't think. No, I haven't. I would remember if I did. And so to have you there is it's exciting, actually. See what we create.
Yes, it is such a pleasure to be here. And thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. You are very welcome. It's all good. Quali, I know Leslie ain't tripping. There's got to be something there. So let's jump in. You know, I guess the first question I really want to ask you is, how are you doing? How are you navigating these times where there's a lot going on? Some people call it the cosmic reset. Some people say this is the worst time ever. Some people say this is the best time ever. How are you dealing with it, and what's helping you stay grounded?
It's really interesting that you're asking that question, because it's been a thing of kind of riding the tide in some of all those directions. But what I found personally, that this has been one of the best times, and that's because I come from a perspective of it being all blessings in anything that you're experiencing or I'm experiencing. I'm finding that it is molding and shaping me, the valleys and the mountains. So in that, I found that I have grown considerably, because we've been kind of put in a position where we have to shut down. We're closed off. We have to be self, giving nothing but time. Be reflective, to feel, to address those parts of the self that have been put by the wayside for so long because we're so busy living and running and doing our thing.
Yes.
So for me, it's assisted me in being able to, like what you're talking about today, come home to myself and hone my skills and kind of advance and move forward. And it's almost like things have amplified in a way.
Yes.
A lot of healing, a lot of opportunity to heal those dark places
Mm-hmm.
that would trigger, it's like they don't even trigger anymore. So much time to overwrite them and kind of
Yes.
reprogram and get on track. So
Mm-hmm.
it's to come to get 100% on track.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correction. Sometimes men feel like we're being stretched, like, ow, ow, I don't want to change. Ow, you hurt me. And life is like, relax. I can't, it's hurting me. Relax.
Exactly. Exactly.
uh, hello, Scotty. Hello, Scotty, Charles, and Christine. Nice to see you. So, Joe, on this show, as you heard earlier, this show is about giving people, reminding people to tune in to themselves. The work that you do is about returning people to their authentic self, and part of that self, or how that self, the authentic self, shows up is through our names. I believe and know that names are very symbolic. They carry a vibration, and it determines how we carry ourselves in the world. So you obviously use your middle name, LaVerne, Joe, J-O, LaVerne Pearson. So the question is, what is the meaning of your name, or names, and what does it mean to you?
Okay, that for a long time, growing up, everyone called me and knew me as LaVerne. They used my middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Most people didn't even know my first name.
Mm.
I found that when I went to college, that's when I was known using my first name, Joe.
Mm.
So over these years, it's given me an opportunity. Joe represents that inner me,
Mm.
that person that I was to become.
Yeah.
LaVerne was that, and it's interesting because it brought me back. It's like coming full circle,
Mm-hmm.
coming back to now adding LaVerne. It's finding on my life's walk that I knew who I was when I was LaVerne and coming in and came into this earth.
Mm.
However, it wasn't developed, it wasn't encouraged, it wasn't, I was a lot younger then.
Mm.
So you're in a position when you're younger not to be able to have authority over yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So then walking so many years as Joe specifically, it was my building time. So that Joe to me is like my heart foundation
Mm.
as a mature person,
Mm.
as a mature being. And LaVerne keeps that flavor of that wisdom and the things that I touched and felt when I was younger, and dancing and consciousness and
Mm.
spirit and all of that so freely.
Mm.
It matches the two. So it feels like using Joe LaVerne now brings everything together
Mm-hmm.
and amplifies my life path, my solar, my quiet self. It just brings flavor to all of that. And studying those things helped me bring it all together to see, wow, this is kind of who I am and this is what I have.
Mm. Mm. Wow. So Joe, is it short for something else, or that's what you were named, Joe, J-O?
It's just Joe, J-O.
Wow. So I Googled it as we were talking. I've never done this before, as long as I've known you. I said, let me just see what the Google said about your name. And the Google said Joe means God is gracious. It's a feminine form of John. I never even thought about that. You wear that
No,
name very well. You wear it
that's
very
really
well.
interesting.
And then I obviously, since I'm in the Google, I thought, let me see what the Google said about LaVerne. And it said, which is fun, it said is a primary is being used primarily by parents who are considering baby names for girls. Yeah, hello. apparently is a feminine form of the name for Vernon, Vernon. So it's interesting that you have these two names, that there is a masculine name for it, and you have the feminine. So do you feel like you carry that energy of the feminine, the divine feminine through your work?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of my walk was developing the divine masculine. But my foundation has always been the divine feminine, which is representative of a 5-dimension, or however you want to look at it, Age of Aquarius, and a lot of what so many are saying we're coming into now at this time. So it's very balanced, and it was coming to a place. And as I said in the opening, my walk has given me opportunity to be able to not trying to balance between the two, but they've actually come together, just like bringing my name together. And those aspects of myself have come together. The whole 7 levels that all come together. Yeah.
So I want to say something about the divine masculine, but before we do that, let's kind of set a foundation there, because you said a couple of things that's like, oh yeah, we can talk more about that. So the topic today is coming home to yourself. And you and I have obviously, well, it's obvious to both you and I, it may not be obvious to the audience, we've had our own coming home experiences. And you also talked about when you were younger, the gift that you have and how maybe that wasn't nurtured. Tell us about your journey as a young person who was intuitive, had gifts, but not necessarily, I mean, I guess as a child, you're not thinking, well, I'm intuitive, I'm going to be a psychic when I grow up. I don't think children do that. People just know. What was that experience like growing up and feeling, sensing, or did you feel and sense that you had a gift? What was that experience like?
No, it wasn't like I had a conscious understanding that I had gifts. In a lot of ways, I thought I was kind of strange because it didn't mirror family, people around me. It was just something that's always been there. And I would feel things and know things, and people who had crossed over and animal spirits. And so I found myself building my own inner world and spent as often as possible time just exploring that inner world. Fortunately, my father was very spiritual. And the thing is, he never said, this is what you have, this is who you are. He found it most important for me to touch and feel and develop these things and dance with it in a way that I was inwardly guided to. It wasn't until I think I was around 17, 16, 17, then he started introducing me to groups and organizations and literature and that type of thing. So it's always been like that for me. Ever since a kid, it would just come to me. I was channeling, empathic, all of these things, and it was overwhelming because I think it was that my family did not, and as a whole didn't understand what it was about. So it would be sometimes disconcerting. I could be out and about and connect with someone and feel them and what's going on in their life and become sad. I cried a lot. And knowing so much in my growing years that I couldn't get confirmation on. So it kind of translated that this is strange. Or if I would just come out and say something, and then the adult would look like,
okay, something wrong with her.
So that. And then I would translate that into saying, oh my goodness, I must be strange. Something must be wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, but I lived in that inner world and the channelings would be happening. And I just thought my maternal grandmother was with me. I just thought she was my imaginary friend. I had no concept of the depth of spirit and experimenting with consciousness. It was just stuff that a lot of us come in with this. We come in with it and it's part of our walk in the current lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of the things that happened when I was growing up, as I got out on my own, I was guided to tangibles to give me a language for all of that that's been happening most of my life.
So did you say your dad was encouraging of your gift?
Yes. And after, I would say 100%, it wasn't until I became older. I would ask him questions when I was younger, and he would answer my questions, but he did it from a space of allowing me to just express, to just roll with it. He never gave me the impression anything was wrong with it. But my parents divorced when I was 6, so I didn't have that every day interaction with them, just on visits and that type of thing. So when I became older, and I can't remember age-wise, preteen, teen, he was a member of organizations. There was a whole group, spiritual group, that he was a member of, one of the founding members of. He would just say, let's go in and out, and we'd go to the meetings and the channelings and things like that.
Wow.
But not knowing, I had no idea and never made the connection. Wow, that's what you do. That's what you feel. Because I had that imprint that something was wrong with me. So I
Yes.
never made that connection. This is you. This is you. This is a part of who you are. It's something I'm very passionate about, because I cross paths, having been all around this world, back and forth across this country, and cross paths with so many people that are just profoundly gifted, so full and so rich.
Yes.
And a lot of them are still searching, but we're in a time right now where the veils are lifting and things are opening up that are changing. That's like the whole vibration of this 2021. Things are changing. It's all about change. It's a universal 5-year. It's all about breaking down boundaries and kind of the elimination of status quo. And so a lot of what we're seeing, a lot of things people are expressing, are really part and parcel to the time that we're in.
Yes. I totally agree with you. We're going through a major shift, and it's more than just coronavirus. It's more than just this thing we're going through a pandemic. There is a major shift. And I would even say, we're all gifted, and there are different ways that we use the gift. But I think the energy is so high right now that those who may be resisting sharing their gift, maybe just walk into the park one day, going to the grocery store, and they get revealed. So you might as well just surrender to the gift right now. Like, okay, I know I have a gift. I don't know how to language it, but I know I have a gift. But there is an energy that's supporting us right now. And, I asked you about your dad, and it's interesting because you said earlier that the work that you do is like it's around the work of divine masculine, which we don't hear a lot of that. Sometimes we get so out of balance that we swing to the divine feminine. Divine feminine is where it's at. But it's interesting that it's your dad as well that supported your gift. Because sometimes, generally speaking, it's either grandmother or my mother that people say supported their gifts. The father's like, what's wrong with you? But so what a gift that your dad gave you to affirm who you are. And then your work continues with working with that divine masculine energy. I just want to remind listeners, we are doing live readings. If you're interested in doing a reading with Joe, send us a message through Facebook. What is it? The Being You podcast page. Go to the message section, send us a message, and we'll send you a link to join us live. And if you have a question and you're like, I don't want to go live, but I got a question, suck it up. But if you can't suck it up and you're just gonna, okay, stop. You can put it in a chat room. We'll take that too. Joe is okay with that. But if you can join on screen, that would be great. All right. That's the Being You podcast page on Facebook. So how did you navigate the sort of feeling strange, and then you started to acquire language for how you were showing up on this earth, your gifts? And there had to be some times where it was really challenging. Or maybe you're just one of the few who never had that kind of challenge. But I think there were times where it was just like, what the flip is going on here? Tell us about that. What was that like?
Yes. Yeah, there were times that it was very challenging. Very challenging. And I have to say, because I think it would serve people who are walking the same. But when I realized all those pieces of self were coming together and coming into the wholeness of who I am, that the only thing I ever feared in my life was really myself. Not knowing, with all this happening and not having a language for it and growing into it, and even through the entire walk, when the path started lighting up and the information came and the readings came and the channelings became more strong, it was like feeling a sense of your own power within. Not from ego or anything like that.
Right.
Just your power as a spiritual being, as a whole being. Body, mind, spirit, psychism, consciousness, energy, and seeing the largesse of that. So yes, getting there were challenges, but coming to a place of accepting all of that, I think, was the biggest step.
What was the incident that broke you open to say, okay, I surrender? Was there something that actually happened that you realized, I can't keep denying this? Was there an experience that you went through?
I can answer that in two ways. It was channeling and uploading experiences and seeing how all those things that I experienced and walked and touched and felt.
You said there was a glitch. I don't know if it's on my end. You said channeling and something, and then I heard experiences. What did you say about
uploading? I call it uploading, when that knowing that deep down in your gut, and the information just flows up and then into your heart to your mind, and you get it. Yes. So with that, it was the long time of remembering this person, that person, this walk, when you were here, when you were there, that was speaking to me in a way that said, this is what was going on. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I had it then. I got it then. Which kicked everything into gear was when I left everything and I left Atlanta and went to Sedona, which I was totally guided there, had no intention of going to Sedona at all. At that time, I didn't even know Sedona existed. And I just had this urge to just get away.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the travel agent and she said, well, where would you like to go? I had always thought of New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So I had everything laying there to take a trip to New Mexico. And she said, okay, where would you like to go? And it comes out of my mouth, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped and I said, why am I saying Arizona? I said, I never wanted to go to Arizona. So long story short, I ended up going to Arizona. And the clerk at the hotel I stayed in Scottsdale said, you need to go to Sedona. And he just said it. I call them angels. Those people that cross your path and they bring the message, keep you on track, get you back on track. So when going to Sedona, it spoke to me and I ended up moving back there. Mm-hmm. So kicked into this work, literally kicked off the cliff into this work by the woman who owned the center that I was working through. But I wasn't doing this work at all. And someone came in wanting a reading. It was my job to get them the book with all the readers and help them select someone. And the young lady said, I don't see anybody that's resonating with me. And Anita, the owner of the center, walked over and starts telling her about this wonderful reader who's so gifted, has this and that, will give you. And I'm looking at her going, okay, who do I call down?
Right.
And she picks up the key to the empty office, handed it to me and said, go upstairs and give this lady her reading. And I could not believe it, but everything in my spirit, I was moving. It was like my head just shut off and I was moving. Needless to say, long story short, I did the reading for her and the young lady was like, this is the best way you hit. She was so excited. She started to cry. And we went back downstairs and Anita said, keep the key. It's your office. Now get to work and do what you're on this earth to do.
While you were busy booking people, scheduling other people, you scheduled yourself into a job that you didn't even know, right? It's like, no, you need to be on the books.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea. So that was my first step into saying, this is real. It just expanded and expanded from there. And that's what I was doing. And then through this recent time and having all these pieces just uploading and channeling, I come to that place of unconditional acceptance. And that's an important place for us to come to, where we unconditionally accept who and what we are, and then be able to allow ourselves to just be that. Life's so much simpler and so easy because you're just flowing more with that inner knowing, creativity, that heart. It just puts you on a track that is just makes the world look a lot different.
Yes, definitely. And when you universal you, we surrender and accept unconditional, accept our gift, we make a difference in other people's lives. Because Joe is one of the people I call sometimes and I'm just like, I'm too close to it. I feel like I'm overthinking, and before I say one word and Joe already has an answer. She just letting me talk, and then it's like coming and just flushes like, you know what? I was just thinking that. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. And you do it in such a natural way. I wanted to ask you this question. I don't know why, but it keeps coming up for me. You and I, of course, were in ministerial school at Hillside International Truth Center. And I remember one time we were standing in front, and I think it was after one of the classes that we were taking. And you were saying that you were thinking of stepping out and doing something else, traveling. I mean, you had I think maybe a BMW that was maybe a year or two old that you had it, and now you were going to give it back. And I'm thinking, why would you do that? And you said, I don't know where I'm going. Was that when you moved to Arizona?
Yes.
Wow. You just dropped everything and took off.
It was that overwhelmingly strong. Just, and it's really interesting. And I don't know if people can relate to this. When you know how Dr. Barber would say, when you know that you know that you know.
Yeah.
When you come to that place, and it's not a head thing, it's not where you can rationalize it or make it logical or anything like that. It's when it comes from that core being. You will find that the action steps come and you're actually in the motion of it.
Yes.
So doing that in my head, it didn't, 1 + 1 wasn't equaling 2 because of everything I was doing in Atlanta.
Yes.
But when it comes to you in that way, and we don't block it or flip it to our head and try to make sense out of it, find that you're just flowing with it. And in allowing self to do that, that's what I mean by after unconditionally accepting, allowing. You find you don't miss a mark. Everything you need to walk it is there. The people, the places, the things, the resources, the information, it just, and it's not magic, it's you creating, actually allowing yourself to be a vessel through which your creative self can create your reality in the way that speaks to the truth of who you are.
Yes. I feel you. And, listeners, some of you may be listening saying, what's it got to do with coming back home, coming to yourself? Because home isn't, for me, home is truly where the heart is. I often describe myself as a Nigerian man born in the UK, conceived in Germany, and feels more at home in America. So for me, home, I've come to really sit into that statement. Home is where the heart is, And home is that place where your gift is, where your gifts are, your talents, the things that you have to offer. Home is that place where you feel like you can be anywhere in the world. For some people, home could be the physical place. There are some people who say, I miss home. And they can be doing what they love and feel they need to get back to this physical place. But it's about the journey. I feel like in life, we leave home looking for home, only to realize that we've been home all along. We think we're going out there to look for this gift, what we're good at, what our purpose is. What's my purpose? I don't know. What is mine to do? Let me go out in the world. Let me study. Let me go to ministerial school. Let me do whatever. All those things do help us to get clear. And what I find is we end up coming back. We end up coming back to ourselves and realize we've had it all along. Listeners, okay, so I guess I don't know if let's just send that. So we have New Jason in the chat room says, where can I post a question? I guess you can, what do you think, Leslie? Post it in the YouTube for those who are on YouTube. Yeah, just post it in there. And New Jason is one of those people that just refuse to even have coffee with Facebook. And I understand. I used to have coffee with Facebook many times. I'm like, I think we need to divorce. Well, actually, no, it's working for me. But anyway, you can post your question in the chat room, New Jace, unless if it's something that, well, I don't know, now it's no longer private. If you don't want the world to know you're the one asking it, you can email it. So now if I say, oh, there's a question here that was emailed to me, there it knows you. But we want you to come back home to yourself and reveal yourself. So listeners, if you have any questions, send us a message on the Being You podcast page, and we will send you a link to join us live. I think we have some people queuing up, and when they get here, I'll bring them on. And New Jace, you can post your question on the chat room on YouTube. But if you don't want to share it in there, You can email it to me. You have my email, but for those who don't know, go to lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Okay. All right. So we're waiting on somebody. Okay. We'll get to that when it's time. So when you go to lifecoachade.com, just go to the contact page. Now, let me ask you this whole thing about coming back to yourself. Coming back. Okay. No, I know, Leslie. I know. I did it again. So I've been calling coming home to yourself, coming back to yourself. It's all the same thing, really. Coming home to yourself. Tell us what that means to you when you think about it, your journey. You've shared how you've surrendered unconditionally to the gift. There might be some people saying, I'm still trying to find a home. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I don't know where home is. What would you say to that?
With that, when I think of home, and it came to me very, very clearly, for me, coming home is coming back to my center, my heart, to those parts of me that help shape my outer world. Because I did a lot of moving around, kind of looking for that home. And what people said was supposed to be home didn't really feel like home.
Right.
So it was living in all these different places and being in all these different places, and none of it felt like the place that I could say, this is home, this is where I'm going to be, this is where I'm going to root, and this is where I'm going to stay. But when I came back full circle into myself, and maybe people will be able to relate to this, when you are feeling yourself, it's a place of acceptance, self-love, that brought me to that place of feeling at home no matter where I am. It feels like that's where I belong. This is where I need to be at this moment and this time, and this is feeding me and I'm feeding it. So it's also looking at it from a broader consciousness perspective. If you look at it that we are all one consciousness expressing in different ways, and that applies to people, places, and things from my school of thought, then it's easier to find that place of rest, almost wherever you are. Yes, there are things that'll say, this place I feel more, and this place I feel less, or whatever. But it's finding that place within your central channel, within who you are, where you are grounded and expanded into all around you, that you can make it work.
Yeah.
So it's an inner thing to me when I think of home. And to be able for people that feels that based on where they are or where they incarnated, and looking at that as saying, this is where it makes me feel all of that. So it can work from the inside out or outside in. Because it's right back to everything being connected and that being all in kind of one sphere.
As I listen to you and get what you're saying, and then I also think of, so there are those of us who get forced, and it's actually interesting what I'm about to say here. There are those of us who, I'm including myself in the us's in this case, those of us who get forced back home. And then there are those of us who know we got to come back home, sometimes even resist it, but eventually we surrender to it. And then when I say home, I'm talking about a physical place. And what's interesting about what I'm saying, because I feel like I was forced back home, which is not, that's not the big deal. The big deal is the fact that I actually see UK as home. There's a part of me that sees it as home, and there's another part that's like, this ain't home. And there is really, sometimes there is a conflict. Like, I'm here in the UK and feel like, part of my reason for being here without knowing it is to heal my relationship with this country. But I don't feel like I'm going to be here for a long time. I can already feel myself. I'm like thinking of different places to go. And what would you say to people who are feeling maybe the call to go back to their home, where they were born, where they grew up, where their parents live, but somehow are sort of resisting it?
And I'm just going to say this how I'm hearing it. It's an invitation to come back to yourself. It's a process in life. There are things that are placed on our path, the people that we've interacted with, our parents, and everything in my school of thought comes together to shape your life. So in essence, it's all by design. It's a part of the process that I ended up having. It just worked that I ended up back in my hometown, back in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. And now I see that it was ideal and by design. When you have a walk to walk and a purpose on this earth, it's revealing itself to you, whether you're 100% consciously aware of it or not. And sometimes things that cross our path at the moment don't make sense. So going back to home, the place that you incarnated, where you came onto this earth, it has a meaning. If you want to look at it from kind of from the standpoint of numerology and what your hometown is numerologically, how the planets were aligned at the time, why you incarnated in that place at that particular time, on that particular day. There are so many things, and they're easy to research and find for yourself. It's building your story. From my school of thought, is building your story. And I think that was ideal. Yes, you're back because you have a walk. You have a walk, and it's broadening and broadening. And that's a part of the process, was to go back and to make sense and put the puzzle together.
Yeah.
So that way,
Sometimes I wish I could have just Googled the directions. Like, can I just bypass this part? Yeah. I'm trying to put a puzzle together, but do we have to go? Do we really have to go to a meditation center? Come on, man. I know how to meditate. We have a comment on Instagram, Faith Walker. Namaskar, my sister. Nice to see you. She said, so the whole thing about coming home, she said, to me, it's when you can be yourself. You don't have to feel like you have to fit in. You have to fit into working in corporate America, I guess. Yeah. Where you had to talk a certain way, wear your hair a certain way, and dress a certain way. You're basically acting for 8 hours. So the idea of being able to be yourself in that moment, it's for her, like, yeah, that's what it means to come back home. So speaking of coming back home, we have a guest that's going to be joining us who's coming back home to get her reading. Maybe let me know when she's ready. She's uniquely here. And let me just, there's a question here while we get the listener ready. I want to go to a question here. And this is from New Jay. New Jay said, this is for you, Joe. She said, I have vivid dreams every night, so vivid that I am very active in them. I wake up tired. I keep a dream journal many years. I kept a dream Okay, okay. Let me stop playing around. I kept a dream journal many years ago, many years ago, I guess, and I have recently started to journal again. Can you offer any advice as to why I'm so active in my dreams and guidance for dream interpretation? Thoughts,
It,
Joe?
it's actually, and I know you're still working with it, but it's a beautiful thing. What I'm hearing is that you're a lucid dreamer and that you have a gift within yourself. If you relax with it, keep your journal, start looking at what you're journaling and seeing the pieces that link together, that you'll see a story coming together out of that. I'm also hearing that there's a place that, if allowed, and you allow it and embrace it, you will be able to be even more active and, in a way, guide and direct what is happening in the dream so it served you. It's like a teaching tool for you. It's like a way of, it's a process of your development, and you're developing into your whole self. And I'm saying this also from the standpoint of being able to relate to that. And yes, I'm hearing it very clearly. You will walk the process if you allow yourself to do so. Keep that journal, refer to it, read through it, look for the connecting dots, because it's a teaching platform for you. And you will be able to become even more active in that process by consciously, in dream state, say, this is what's happening here. Okay, I'm stepping out. I know that I'm dreaming. And I promise you that is a very, very, very real thing.
Yes.
Something that I've experienced. It's a very real thing. And I'm hearing very deeply that that is a part of your gift, and you will be able to extract information from your journal as you link those pieces together that are going to really serve you.
Yeah, just listening to you remind me of some of the lucid dreams that I've had where I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, I'm like talking myself through the things that is happening next. I find it exciting, to be quite honest. So yes. And the other funny thing about it is, Unique, we're coming to you next. This friend, New Jays, I know her very well while she's in this waking world, if you want to say that, or the human dreaming world. She's a busy person. So for me, it's no surprise that she's busy in her dream, because she's always doing something. So okay, we want to bring on Unique, and she has a question. Let me add her to the stream. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
Oh my
Can you
God,
hear
I
me?
just got chills. I just got chills. Oh my God.
Unique, do you have a headset that you can put on? Because there's a feedback on it. If you can put
I
it on your
do.
phone. Okay, thank you. Sure, no worries. So yeah. And New Jay said, thank you. She said, there's a lot going on. Okay, yeah, thank you, Leslie. We'll bring you back on. Just give us a thumbs up when you're ready, and we'll come back to you. So Joe, you there? Yeah, you're there. Okay, I think Unique is back. Unique Nbantu. I'm sure I pronounced it right. I'm going to be big and bad and say, of course I pronounce it right. I'm a Nigerian. Nbantu. Did I say it right?
You said it correctly.
Thank you very much. So you got a question for Joe. What's your question?
Joe, I've been hearing myself say more and more, this is my knowing. I just know. I don't know. I just know. So, and of course, it comes with a vibration in my gut. and I can't explain it. It just haphazardly just rolls out of my tongue. So I'm just wondering, what is this shift? What is its purpose in my life?
Okay. As soon as you came on the screen, I got chills. I am saying this sister is more powerful than she is believing that she is. When you said that with such fluidity that you just know. I'm hearing your intuitive self is very, 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 very strong. And to stand in that, it's coming to that place where you can trust what you're getting. It's very, very real for you. You're very, very solid with it. It's trusting it and allowing it to be. I'm feeling a little, I'm feeling a little blockage of energy down in your gut where your knowing comes from, a little blockage of energy. And what I'm seeing is it's happening on the mental plane more. So it's allowing, and I want to be able to say this so you get it, is when I say it, allowing your knowing to flow without, it's like you're doing it in a hair of a second, it's jumping into the mental plane. So it's, you know how you just hold yourself like this? That's the way I'm seeing the vision of you holding that part of you that knows. You're also, I'm picking up very much so divine feminine. So that is what amps up and empowers your intuition in that way. And do you involve yourself in any creative endeavors, like anything creative?
Writing.
There we go. Okay.
But it's stifled. It's stuffed. Words I hear, but I can't seem to get through.
I'm feeling right back in that solar plexus, right back there in your gut. The way I'm feeling you, it's allowing yourself to come to a place where you stand in that whole divine feminine, intuitive, creative process. And it would be helpful if you do more things to nurture yourself. Because I'm hearing some self-nurturing would be very, very helpful to you. And I'm getting trust. It's trust. It's trust. It's trusting that it's a part of who you are. It's just is who you are. It was so clear as soon as you came on the screen, the divine feminine and powerfully intuitive. And as we talked about earlier, it's coming to a place of accepting that and giving it a voice. So when I heard also about the creative, you being creative, write it out, write your feelings out, write what you're getting, write those in the things that are coming to you. Just let it flow. Just write. To get yourself a chance to strengthen being able to give it a voice. It's a simple process for you. It really is unique. It's a simple process for you. Your thing is, I see you you know how you're standing like mud or something sticky and you're lifting your feet trying to put, I see you doing that, but it's not necessary. you have it to just step into it. And it's not, I don't see a big block or a very dense block. It's, I'm hearing owning your mother nature. That owning your mother nature. That's what's attached to that little block. And when you do, you will feel that and see that open up, and you will just be flowing with it. You got it, girl. You got it. It's just allowing it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Before you
Yes.
go, Unique, what happened for you when Joe said owning your mother nature? Something happened for you. What was that?
I just had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, and because I've been hearing in my knowing, even if of course I know I will never be destitute. That's my promise that was given to me. But in my knowing, I told my daughter, I said, if I lost everything, I know I will create it. I said, even if I have to open up take in foster children, because I was one hell of a mother. So when she said that, I was like, mother just came out my mouth yesterday. So, and then tapping into that mother nature feels so much easier for me than tapping into the part that I've had trouble with, the sensual side that attracts, that it attracts so much. I repel it because I don't, it's hard. They get touchy feely, they get, and that's just not sensual for men, but it's just, everyone is attracted to it. I mean, in this day and age, but
Yes.
I repel it. So, but the mother part, that mother nature rang in my spirit. Like I've seen her before. I've been there before. I know that place. I'm ready to go back to that now.
Yes. Yeah. And the idea of the nurturing as a mother, you're nurturing. As you nurture others, you're nurturing yourself. You're nurturing your gift. And that opens up the way, because nurturing involves compassion, understanding. There's a sort of ease and things that you're saying. There's things I need to learn. And I'm so grateful that Joe, excuse me, Joe said about the writing, because when you said it's like, I was going to say, if Joe didn't say it, I was going to come back like, just get pen and paper and just write. Whether you know what the word is, just write. Make it up. Just keep writing. It's like going to a gym. You just keep exercising. Like, I can pick up that weight, but when I lift it now, it's kind of like my muscles feel tight. Just keep lifting what you can lift. Just keep writing. The channel is already open. It's going to open. You just keep doing it. And the more you nurture, the more you open up, the more you change your nature. And that's all of that has to do with the whole thing about divine feminine. I just wanted to say that if you have any follow-up questions for Joe, so feel free.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just say one thing to you, Nicole?
Sure.
In that writing, it's being in a place of softness where you are feeling that mother nature, that nurturing of yourself, and just get quiet and allow that what is coming from here to just flow, to just flow, to just flow.
I feel that.
Nice softness around you. Use that.
Thank you. I feel that. I feel that. I receive that. I accept that. I'm going to walk in that.
You claimed it already. I feel it. I accept it. I'm going to walk in it. That's it. It is done.
That's it. It is done. Thank you both so much. Thank you. You're so very much. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. I love it. I love this thing called life. It is delicious.
Yes, isn't it?
It is delicious. And there is something to be said when we say coming home to yourself, as you shared earlier, the gift. When we say yes to the gift, when we allow the gift to be expressed through us. Because, for me, coming back to the UK, yeah, it's all right. I didn't really have a choice, but I did have a choice. I guess I said yes to it, but I don't know why. But anyway, because I am doing what I was created to do, to be on this planet, it's like, I'm not even tripping. I've always said that wherever I go in the world, I would always work because I am my work. I take it with me. And, we don't always know how things are going to unfold. But when we trust that, I mean, everybody's journey is different, and I get that. But what I will say is some people may return home and not still maybe struggling with their gift. But in going back home, you get to discover something about yourself that you didn't even know was going to happen. Like when you called and you were going to go to New Mexico, you thought, and they said, where would you want to go? Arizona. You're like, wait. And then you went there and then you were told to go somewhere else. And I think this journey of coming back home where we, it can take a whole life because we walk through life feeling like we don't belong because of the journey, especially Black people in diaspora, Africans who have, been told that your language is not yours, or it's primitive, or the way you worship, the way you honor God, your ways, ancient, not even ancient in a positive kind of way. So I know that's been my journey. Like I've said this many times, I literally was able to align more with the ways of my ancestors when I got to America. Like I wasn't thinking about, I'm going to go to America to learn the ways of my ancestors. I wasn't even thinking about the ways of my ancestors. In fact, I was told not to even think of the ways and consider it evil. So I didn't want nothing to do with it. And as I share now, I'm kind of just really realizing that I think when you told me, we were talking and you were like, I'm getting that you're the voice of your ancestors. I was like, what? That feels good. And I think that's when things started to shift for me to kind of allow it. It's been a long time and I feel like I'm still on that journey. And I really just want to publicly thank you for being open, for being available, for being a vessel for your ancestors and the ancestors of humanity, and to be able to speak the truth, even when sometimes when it's coming, you're like, I don't know, but this is the word I'm getting. And then when it lands, the listener knows that that's exactly what I needed to hear. Kind of like when I was watching Unique earlier, when you said Mother Nature, I can just see something shift in it. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
It is.
Well, we got some time if you have for maybe one more question. So if you got a question, you can go to Being You podcast page and send us a message and we'll send you a link, or you can post it in the chat room if you're on YouTube. Oh wait, there's some comments in the chat room. I'm gonna come back to that. On Instagram. What did I say? I think I don't know what I said. Didn't sound like I said what I meant to say, but anyway. So as we may get another question, but I really just wanted to ask you. You were living in Atlanta, and then you moved to you weren't dragged, but kind of like they spoke through you where you needed to be by going to Arizona, and then you end up coming back home to New Jersey. Was that a journey back to New Jersey? That was it? Did you do it willingly, or were you kind of like somewhat kind of dragged back? Maybe you're not as resistant as me. I can be resistant. So what was that journey like for you?
It was difficult because it was an experience in Sedona that landed me actually coming back to the East Coast. What I did was actually cycled around and went back to a position that I had in Washington, D.C., with a firm in D.C. that I had before I even went to Atlanta, ending up in Sedona. Then I was guided back to my hometown. And I believe it was where I was at that time. I had looked, I wasn't consciously aware of it then. But now I understand that in order for me to walk fully in my purpose and do what I'm here to do, and in the way that I am to do it, I needed to get rid of all that, not get rid of, because we never get rid of it. We can get it to a place where it no longer triggers. but core beliefs and ideas and things that came from people, places, people, and family, and we can go down the list that help shape your psyche and all that subconscious programming, because we're picking up from all around us, and things that are said, a situation happens and bam, it's triggered, and then we're right back living it as if it just happened.
Yes.
So we're digging, and it was so solid. It was like breaking through all of that so I could be freer to being in more of the vibration of who I am in my truth and in my wholeness, to be able to do what I do and do it in the way that I'm here to do it. And it's a process, and it isn't easy, because when we look at, when we allow ourselves to face that, and it's like you find people that are always angry or kind of peaks and valleys with mood and all that, a lot of that has to do with all that stuff that has been compounding almost daily from the time we came onto this earth. We carry all of that. Carry all of that. And so for me, it was challenging because I came back and all that stuff started coming up. And it was like, what the hell?
Literally, what the hell?
But you'll find in that you can endure it. It does not have to be where it's overwhelming. And I'm saying that because if you're at that place and you're experiencing this, or even feeling that it's time, you find the strength, you find the wherewithal to be able to face it. It's no different to what Buddha did under the Bodhisattva tree. No different if you want to look at it even from a Christian perspective, and what Jesus Christ or Yeshua did going up in the mountain when they said he faced off with, it's facing that. It's part of the ascension process. It's part of coming into your higher self. That you look at these things. It's like what in some schools of thought they say, facing your demons, facing those parts of yourself, facing your darkness, because out of that comes light. And you will come to a place, if you have the courage to allow yourself to examine it, listen to it, and start clearing it, where it's no longer, and that's what's happening in this time that we're moving into. You won't be so polarized. It won't be dark and light, dark and light, dark and light. It comes into one being, and finding that the darkness and the light exist together. It takes darkness and light, it comes together, and you will find those places within where it doesn't trigger that much anymore. And I can tell you, probably everybody has that stuff that's down in there, and it takes one little thing, it triggers, and then here it comes flying up, and we stuff it. Instead of allowing it to come up and look at it and ask it what it's telling you. We're profound beings. You ask and you will get the answers. You just have to be quiet enough and courageous enough to say, I'm really and ready to hear it.
So true. I got someone on IG here, the Faith Walker. You shared a dream that you have, and let me know if it's something that you want Joe to read or share interpretation, and because we need your interpretation, we need your permission to give an interpretation. So when you were talking about sometimes things come up, it's coming to be released, right? We stuff it. One of the things that I found that we stuff it sometimes is in judging what is happening, in blaming ourselves, saying, no, it's because I'm not spiritual enough. It's because I haven't learned to love myself. I know I need to forgive myself, but it's hard. It's easy to forgive others than than to forgive myself. When the energy, the memories coming up, I personally believe, I know the best we can do is embrace it. Embrace it, to sit with it, to ask questions. And sometimes, yes, we may need to reach out to a psychic to say, this is happening, kind of like what Unique did earlier. Sometimes we need somebody else to help us see what is happening. But when we start judging ourselves or judging what is coming up, then we have a problem temporarily, right? Or how do you see it?
Yeah, a lot of what you're saying is true. It's unfortunate because we're kind of trained in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you really look at it, how often did you hear somebody say, "Oh, this is what's great about you. This is that was a wonderful thing."
Mm-hmm.
To promote, we oftentimes hear what's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it comes off, even if the person doesn't mean for it to be something like it's criticizing,
Mm-hmm.
but we hear most often, and our minds almost always go immediately to that.
Yes.
Instead of what is right with us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's judging, the self-judgment. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I haven't done enough. I'm not spiritual enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not. We have a tendency to go there first.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm hearing is to say, even if you do look at that, where does that come from?
Mm-hmm.
We're not trained to feel.
Say that
How
again.
many times when you were a little kid and you felt it and you just cried or you laughed out loud and someone was there pointing, Dad, stop that crying, stop that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we are constantly shutting down the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
A big step when you start even the self-judgment and blaming yourself or even blaming others, to go underneath that and get quiet with it and ask yourself the questions. Why am I doing? How does this feel? Allow yourself to feel it. Allowing yourself to feel in this process of looking at all of this stuff is very helpful with breaking it up and overriding it with the beauty of who you are when you're allowing yourself to feel it. Feeling is the creative force.
Mm-hmm.
You can think about something all the time, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll manifest unless you have that feeling with it. That's what powers it.
Yes.
Whichever direction you're going in. So that's what I would just say. I implore you to just a little bitty bit of courage to say one little thing, to give it a try.
Yes.
Allow yourself to feel it and ask yourself the questions.
The feeling is the fuel that fuels the transformation. It is the thing that keeps things moving. You feel it. Sometimes it may be too much, like a mother giving birth. You may need to hold somebody's hand like, I'm trying to just be with this. I'm trying to embrace it. But you stay with it long enough, you're going to give birth to yourself. So, yes, the dream here, Faith Walker wants an interpretation. She said, I had a dream, but it felt more like an encounter. Something was on my back and I was trying to scream out Jesus. I tried for about 40 seconds. Then when I finally got out and was able to say Jesus, the thing left. I don't part of your message cut off here. She said she had this encounter 3 times. So it was a dream. Well, she said a dream, but more like an encounter. She felt like something was on her back and she was trying to scream out Jesus. When she was finally able to do it, she said, I tried for about 40 seconds. And then when I was 40 seconds to get it off her back, literally, not the monkey, but that thing, I finally got it out. I finally was able to say Jesus, and the thing left her. What are you sensing getting?
Oh, okay.
You got excited. Yeah,
okay
sure.
now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this is Faith Walker that gave the
On Instagram.
message to Walter. Okay.
Let me just
It's
tell. Hold on a second, Joe. Let me tell her because she's on Instagram. She can't see you, right? But Joe is getting excited. She's like, ooh. She's like, a smile is on her face. I'm waiting to hear what she's going to say. Okay, go ahead.
okay. One, when she first gave her message of coming home, what that meant. Walter, standing in herself. Okay, the dream, and I'm hearing it clear as a bell. It is coming into your Christ nature.
Mm-hmm.
When you say there are different schools of thought, label the time we're coming into, where people are coming into their wholeness. Christ consciousness, coming into your higher self.
Yeah.
Is that a better way to put it? It's interesting that you made the connection with Jesus, because that whole ascension process was the process of showing us how we can come into the higher aspects of ourselves. So Faith, what I'm here to tell you, you're coming into the higher aspects of yourself. You had it 3 times. That's no different than 3 days, 3 nights in the tomb. All of that you power, that what you felt on your back, and was the darkness that needed to be erased, needed to be released in order for you to now step into the next level of yourself. And what I'm hearing, it's very much to do with Christ consciousness and coming into a higher aspect of yourself. It was just ideal that you had it 3 times. And at the end, you were able to say what you said.
So I had to pick up my phone because I felt to show the screen to her, because she's on I stream on IG knowing they can't see it. If you're on IG, you want to see, you have to go to youtube.com/LC radio. But I had to get my phone and move it so she can see you while it gives it, because I can feel you, just like the energy that's moving through. I wanted her to see that. So yes, I hope that served you well, Faith Walker. And we're getting close. Go ahead. You gonna say something, Joe?
I just want to say thank you to Faith as well, because when she sent that first chat, the message, I think it was,
when she was saying coming into yourself, and yeah,
if her energy was right there. So I'm so glad she came, Faith, that you came back with what you did in order for it to be addressed.
Thank you, Joe. So Joe, we're going to make an announcement in a minute. I want to read a comment that was shared. For some reason, it's not showing up in our main chat room. And then I want to ask you a question, which is a kind of question maybe I could have asked at the beginning, but I didn't have it. But Kwali said, there is a reason and a season for people, places, and experiences to come into our lives. I still can't figure out why some of the things that happened to me, but I feel I am a stronger human for them. Yeah, so when you have experience, sometimes we're not able to tell what is happening, why it's happening, but we become more. We get to really deepen ourselves, and we just develop a deeper connection because of what they add to our lives and what we added to their lives. And so no encounter, whether it's a person, a place that you go to, an experience, it's just an experience. Everything is laden with a message. And if we pay attention to it, we'll get what we need. Sometimes we can say, oh, that's mundane. Sometimes we can say, oh my God, that was just mystical. We get to call it whatever we want to call it. So here's a question I want to ask you. As a psychic conscious channel, empath, when you're going, say, like in the grocery stores, do you pick up people's vibe and what they're going through? And what is that like? Or how do you even, shield yourself, if you will? And when I say shield, not as a protection for something bad's going to happen, but how do you deal with that because you're so tapped into energy?
I needed to find a way to deal with that because it was a lot. And as an energy practitioner and a channel and the I call inner community that assists with filling in the blanks of my channeling. I work a lot with energy, so building grids and that type of thing. So for myself, I'm now able to kind of surround myself with a grid of light and still be able to connect with people, interact with people, but not internalize. And it's made a big difference because even with someone, to me, nobody's a stranger, but even with people that you don't know, that you cross paths with, walking into a supermarket, walking into an office, walking into a place, it's on really all the time. It just is who I am. And most people are empaths. They might not be consciously aware of it. You're feeling it when you look at someone and you just get this feeling. You're like, or you're looking at it and saying, wow, there's something. It's you reading that energy. All energy, and it's reading that energy. So what I've learned to do, so it's not overwhelming, and it's not, because now I'm around a lot of people coming in and out, moving around, and not in a position where I'm officially doing the work. I'm just being.
Right. You're doing your minding your own business.
Yes, it's not a shield or anything, because that gives the impression it's something that blocks. It's just being consciously aware of what it is, but not putting myself in the position where I'm internalizing it, where you're taking it all in, and the next thing you know, you're dancing with it. And it's not an easy thing to do because it's around us all the time. I also take time to do exercises that help power me up, like building your awareness, coming into your inner awareness, how it relates to that which is outside of yourself, how it relates to your energy kind of merging with the world and that type of thing. So I've been doing those things to build the power in my energy channel.
Right.
So it's not overwhelming. That's just some of the things we were talking about when I was growing up. It was overwhelming because you're just getting it. And I'm really sensing that there are people listening that can relate to this. It's just a part of who we are. It is. It's a part of who we are. And it's coming to that place of being able to becoming consciously aware of it and saying, yes, okay, this is real and this is what's happening. Is the first step to being able to find a way that's unique to you in order to be able to deal with it, even if it's as simple as taking quiet time. And you get back in your private space to shut it down and just get quiet and allow it to settle. Also, clearing your aura, and that can be done as simply by showering. You can do by showering, allowing the water.
Yes,
that's very feminine, very spirit, very much spirit representative. So those are some little things that you can do to do that, but definitely quiet time. And if you can find quiet time in a natural setting, that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Because something happened to our chat, so we're not. Thank you, Leslie, for catching the messages, but for whatever reason, we're not catching it on the StreamYard chat thing, which everything comes through. So we have a question here. Okay. I'm gonna keep my opinion to myself right now. Because I was going to say something. So
it must be helpful.
You said that might be helpful. I know
you
that.
might have something that needs to be expressed. I don't.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Okay, so we have a question for Trisha. I guess it is Trisha from Canada. She said, "I just wanted to know if I have any good message from Spirit." I'm like, good message as opposed to bad messages, and you think there's a bad message for you out there that you're trying to hear? But anyway, her name is Trisha, and her name is kind of unique, so I just spelled the first name just to kind of connect with your vibe. It's Treassa. So I guess I'm pronouncing it right. Trisha, if I'm not, please forgive me. And she's listening from Canada. She wanted to know if you have any good message from Spirit.
Okay. I say your name a few times. I immediately felt movement in the heart area. And what I'm hearing, and I don't know why I'm seeing cats. Big cat. Oh, it's that energy. It's that energy. Yeah, like the big cats. It's it keeps coming back to the dream you're holding in your heart. It's time to take the step and to follow through with it. Where I'm seeing the big cats, I don't know if you have an affinity to cats or anything like that, but it's the nature of cats. They kind of stand in who they are, and they just not very unlike a dog. They're not trainable. They're not this. They're not that. They don't compromise who they are just being a cat. It's owning that dream, and I feel it in my heart. It's something that you've got in your heart that you can act on, and it will work for you. I'm getting the word fruit, that it will bear fruit. So if nothing but strongly consider it. It feels like it's been hanging there a while. And when I said your name 3 times within, it went immediately to the heart. Allow the process. Allow yourself to look at it from a possible perspective. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. It's very, very, very much around a heart situation.
Thank you. Yeah, I was looking in there to see if I catch anything from Trisha. I haven't seen anything. Thank you, Leslie. Well, Trisha, pay attention. And so the opinion that I had earlier, my 2 cents, it does well, we can always ask general questions, right? But there's something powerful when you're specific about the thing that you really want to know, because then you get to bypass you trying to figure out what you think the interpretation of the message that you got. You can go directly to it. So I say that for everybody and anyone, when you're doing readings or when you're getting a reading, because I worked a 1-2 listen many years ago, and there are people who say, I just want to know what my angels have for me today. First of all, I hate those kind of questions. I can't stand it. It's like, I don't know what they got for you. I'll pull a card here. Let's get into it. Share what's happening, where you're feeling stuck. And for me, that's when I get to really lock into their energy. And after that, yeah, it's a wrap. So when I just want to know what my angels have for me, I'm like, let's see. Epiphany. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, Joe, you have an announcement that you want to share. You have something that you're giving away for our listeners, right? Do you want to go ahead and say, or do you want me to say it? I mean,
yes,
it's not like...
however you need.
Go ahead. I want you to share it. I think it's just
okay.
If you say it as an energy, them. If I say it, they'll be like, did they? No. Anyway, go ahead. Let me be quiet. I'm doing too much.
Okay. what I like to do, and I know this is a platform that doesn't make it always comfortable for people to say, I'm going to step out here and put my question out here to the world and get that answer. And the only way I'm going to answer you is exactly what I'm getting. So, in order for you to have a voice, if the first 5 people that reach out to me by email, I would do a 15-minute reading, free reading, and you can get the information clear and clean, and it'll be private. It'll be between just you and me. So I'm offering that.
Okay, thank you. So the email address is Joe, J-O Pearson, J-O-P-E-R, no, J-O-P-E-A-R-S-O-N 225 at gmail.com. J-O-P-E-A-R-S-O-N 225 at gmail.com. Put in the subject box that you are reaching out because you heard. So you can just say Being You Podcast. If you put that in there, that makes it easy. Being You Podcast will let Joe know where you're coming from, and she's going to cut it off at the first 5 people. So I'm just kind of looking in here. Thank you, Unique. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, New Jays. Shoyinka was in here earlier. And all the other science listeners and silent listeners, those of you who we don't get to see in the chat room, but you're listening. My dear sister, I love and appreciate you. Anything you want to share with our listeners before you go? Anything else? Whatever you want to share.
Okay. Okay. What I'm getting is just be at peace. Feel in your community all day before it's coming to that place where you can just feel at peace and know that all is well in the higher aspects of being. All is well. Trust yourself and just allow yourself to be. It's the whole thing of what it should be in you. Just allow yourself to be. That is a beautiful thing to give to yourself, a beautiful gift to give to yourself, and a showing of just love of self. It's okay.
And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, oh, I get a reading. I feel you. The last few hours has been rather interesting, and so that message touches. And I just want to invite listeners to share their love, your light with mothers, with fathers, with parents who are struggling with their young people. Without going into too much detail, one young person that's closer to me, her and the mother going through stuff, and basically was going to take some actions where she was ready to step out of this planet, but that didn't happen. So let's be a bit more empathic, compassionate with parents and with ourselves. We start with ourselves. My dear sister, I love and appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
To be able to do this with you, the first time ever. It's not going to be the last. And you already now, you got all your gears. You're ready. You're like, I'm ready to go viral. Thank you, my dear sister.
Thank you, Ade. Love you a lot.
You too. Love you too. Life is good. It's getting better. I trust and hope that everybody got what they needed. If not, keep listening. Thank you, Kwali. Appreciate you too. Trisha, I hope I pronounce your name right. Unique, thank you for calling in. And those of you who thought about it, that thought, maybe I would. I don't know. I don't want my business in the street, but I want an answer. Well, I'm sure you got your answer, and maybe this conversation softened your mind, your consciousness to be able to pay attention to what Spirit is telling you. Spirit is simple. The intellect makes it complicated. It's simple. And if you listen, you can get your message through other people. And that's why it's important when you have a question, whatever the question is, especially when it's about empowerment, it's important to ask it, because if you ask it, you're not just asking for yourself, you're asking for another. And so, Faith Walker, my dear sister from Hillside, thank you for being here. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. Check out my website if you want to deepen the experience, the aha moment. Maybe you got some things you're like, I get it, I know it, but I need an accountability partner. I need a coach. I need someone who can hold my feet to the fire of transformation. Lifecoachade.com. I think that's it. Leslie, we good? Yes. Yes. All right, beautiful people. Thank you all for being here. See you next week. And every time I end the show, I don't know, I don't end my show. I release the show. I'm always feeling like there's so much more. It's because I'm always hearing more. Sometimes I just don't know when to be quiet. So this time I'm going to make a choice to wrap it up. Peace and blessings, beautiful people. We'll be back next week. And that's what I need to tell you. Make sure you join Ricky Byers and myself tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. on Thursday morning UK time, where we continue with the conversation. Thank you, Leslie. All right. It's time to head on out. Peace and blessings, beautiful people.
Yeah, yeah. When we